This was an interesting one, right? It's, do women really have it harder? This is an AI debate, anti-feminism versus feminism. So I don't know if this is good or not. The comments are a little bit, saying it might not be that great. So let's check it out.
Most powerful AI models to create two characters, a feminist advocate and an anti-feminist. We put these two characters head-to-head in a debate to discuss the most important gender-related issues of today's world. We also asked 5 AI models to score the arguments as judges. The debate starts with this question: do we live in a patriarchal society?
Men are killing themselves at 4 times the rate of women. They're falling behind in every level of education, from elementary through graduate school. Men make up 93% of workplace deaths, 80% of suicides, and 70% of the homeless. If we lived in a male-dominated society that favored men, these numbers would be impossible. When a man loses his job, he's seen as a failure. When he can't...
Now, do we live in a patriarchal society? It is very, this is a thing where I would love to say this, where it's very skewed. Laughing Man, what's up, my brother? What's up? No, I haven't taken a look at it. Busy, very busy, working and stuff. I will take a look. I have Discord on my phone, right? I have Discord on my phone, so I will, find some time if I have it to look at those videos. So, but please send them, right? Please send them, and I will definitely check them out. It's all good. It's all good, my brother. It's all good. Okay, so the question was, do we live in a patriarchal society? It's very skewed, right? It's a very skewed thing where people like to say that it's a society made for men. I don't believe it so, because men are at the bottom of almost every metric. Men are at the bottom of almost every metric. So I believe it's made for the select few. Okay, the select few. Just so happens the select few are men. It doesn't mean that it's made for men. Okay, it's just made for the select few to succeed, and that select few is usually, the ruthless, the wealthy, the powerful. So I wouldn't say that society is in a way made for men. Now it is, yeah, men are in charge, okay, but not. See, this is the thing where it's hard, right? I want to say men. It's a select few men. So that's the caveat. I always hate people don't really mention, because here's the thing: when you say men, you mean the majority at least, but in reality, it's not. It's rarely the majority. So that's why I disagree with that kind of premise.
Can't provide, he's worthless. Women get sympathy and support systems. Men get told to man up. The draft still exists, only for men. Family courts award custody to mothers 80% of the time. Men work the dangerous jobs that keep society running, while being told they're privileged oppressors. This isn't patriarchy. It's male disposability.
We asked 5 AI.
I love that. Male disposability. Isn't now, because patriarchy is very weird, okay? Yes, men are at the top. But again, it isn't all men. It isn't all men that are at top. It just so happens it's skewed towards men, because men make up the top. But again, most men don't benefit.
Models to evaluate both sides based on 7 criteria, giving each response a score from 0 to 10. Here are the scores the judges gave for the first response.
Average, 6.7. Total, 6.7.
Why?
Those male suicide rates? They're largely because men refuse to seek help, a direct result of toxic masculinity telling them emotions are weakness. Women attempt suicide more but use less lethal methods. Meanwhile, women earn 77 cents for every dollar men make, hold only 8% of Fortune 500 CEO positions, and make up just 27% of Congress despite being 51% of the population. Every day, 3 women are murdered by intimate partners. You're pointing to symptoms of a system that hurts everyone while ignoring who actually holds institutional power. Men dominating dangerous jobs isn't oppression. It's because women were historically barred from most careers, and the effects still linger today through social conditioning.
Average, 7.1. Total, 7.1.
What? That doesn't even. What? How's that? How's that a better score?
That 77-cent statistic is garbage. It compares all women to all men without accounting for hours worked, career choices, or experience. Single, childless women in cities actually out-earn men. Women choose psychology and social work. Men choose engineering and finance. That's not discrimination. That's preference. And you're proving my point about male disposability. When men kill themselves more effectively, somehow that's their fault for not seeking help. Women get endless mental health resources, while male depression is ignored. 3 women murdered daily sounds horrific until you realize men are murdered at triple the rate overall. You're cherry-picking female victimhood while ignoring that men are the primary victims of violence. Period.
I love that one. I love that one. This is a thing where, let me say this. I honestly believe, controversial opinion, right? Therapy. I believe therapy isn't geared towards men. How it's implemented, how it's comes across, it isn't geared towards men. It isn't geared towards helping men. In my sense, that here's the thing where, I'm not trying to say that, oh man, what a bot. That's who it is. This is a thing where, yeah, it is a bot. I don't think therapy, in essence, is geared towards men. So I don't believe we have mental health that is effective for men, because men rather have a way of therapy in that it's actually have solutions, while women prefer therapy. I want to say prefer, but therapy for women is usually an echo chamber or a view of emotions. You know, because for women, it's more validating to just listen, okay, than just say things, right? Give solutions. While men, they want solutions. They want solutions. You tell me, oh yeah, I get it. You're sad. Oh my God, I know that your parents, your mom did this to you. I get it. Oh, your dad was terrible. It's so terrible. Okay, great. Now what? What is the solution? While women, it's just it's just a good thing to listen.
Average, 7.2. Total, 13.9.
You're missing why women choose lower paying fields, because we've been socialized from birth to be caregivers and nurturers while boys get pushed towards STEM. Those single women out earning men only last until they have kids, then their careers tank while fathers get a daddy bonus in pay. And yes, men kill each other more, but
A daddy bonus? That is not factual. What the heck is a daddy bonus? I've never heard of that. And here's the thing where, no, in my honest opinion, here's the thing where, in what is it, Scandinavian countries, the most egalitarian of all countries in the world, right? Scandinavian countries, the most egalitarian countries in the world, right? There's no one pushing you to do anything. Women still, right, focus on careers that focuses on humans. Men still focus on careers that focuses on things. So no, that argument is wrong. Because this is a problem with a lot of feminists, right? One of the tenets of feminism is to fight against biology. I think feminists doesn't believe in biology. They don't believe in biology. They don't believe in what is maybe the human condition, maybe natural instincts. They don't believe in that.
who's doing the killing? Other men. When women die, it's because the man who promised to love them decided to destroy them. That's not random street violence. That's intimate terrorism. You want to talk mental health?
Yeah, but where's accountability? You chose these men. This is a thing where men experience violence from random men, from outside. Okay, while women choose the men that inflict violence onto them. You see the craziness, the disparity, the lack of accountability. Men experience more violence from just the world, right? From the world, out of men's control. Men experience more violence. For women, in women's control, women experience violence. They choose their abusers. Men don't get that choice. Men don't get that choice to choose their abusers, while women do. You are the younger one. You are the kid.
Women are twice as likely to be diagnosed with depression and anxiety, but we're told we're too emotional when we express it. Men's mental health matters, but don't pretend the solution is going backwards.
Average 7.2. Total 14.3.
What are these? I think the score system sucks.
Socialization. Women dominate universities and have every door open for them in STEM through scholarships and quotas, yet still choose other fields.
I cannot believe how she's winning the debate. Absolutely ridiculous.
In countries with the most
I mean, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm probably biased, but it's like, again, her views aren't that strong, in my honest opinion. I mean, it does. I mean, I like to think that I will be logical enough where I will see the logic in arguments. I can change my point of view in arguments, but it's like I feel like that didn't work with this. But I don't know. Maybe I'm blindly biased.
gender equality like Norway, gender differences in career choice actually increase, not decrease. The daddy bonus happens because men work longer hours and take more responsibility after kids. Women opt
That's not a bonus. Taking on more responsibility isn't what you call a bonus, right? It's like you're working yourself more to death. Men have more workplace deaths, right? Men push themselves harder in workplace. Men die quicker than women. You're talking to a bunch of oldies.
often choose flexibility over pay. You admit women are diagnosed with depression more, but somehow that proves men have it easier? Women get endless therapy, support groups, and societal sympathy. A depressed man gets told to shut up and provide. Male-on-male violence doesn't erase the fact that society treats men as expendable. When men die, it's Tuesday. When women die, it's a national crisis.
Average 7.4. Total 21.3.
Let's talk about who's actually creating these problems. Men commit 96% of homicides, 87% of violent crimes, and 98% of sexual assaults.
Let's say this, right? These stats usually by the same criminal, right? A lot of times, I believe, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to crimes, it's usually men that commit multiple crimes. Okay, so usually, let's say hypothetically, a man that commits this crime, commits that crime, in all these different categories, he commits multiple different crimes. So it's like one man committing multiple crimes. Adds to the statistics. Here's the insanity, all right? I always like to say this. Yes, men make up, right, or whatever percent of men do most of the crimes, right? But doesn't mean that most men do most of the crimes. Or it doesn't mean that men do most of the crime. It doesn't mean most men do all the crime. I hope you guys got that.
The reason women's deaths make headlines isn't because society values us more. It's because we're being systematically hunted by the people closest to us. A woman is more like
By the people you chose. This is why it's lack of accountability. You chose said people, while men experience violence from strangers, from people they don't know, from people they didn't choose. So men had no choice in those violence, right? Men had he had nothing to do with it. A lot of times he couldn't. It's not like he chose his abuser.
likely to be killed during pregnancy than die from pregnancy complications. When a woman tries to leave an abusive relationship, that's when she's most likely to die. Men aren't killing themselves because society doesn't care. They're killing themselves because toxic masculinity taught them violence is the only way to solve problems, including their own pain.
Average 6.7, total 21.0.
You're doing exactly what feminists always do. Blame everything on toxic masculinity, like it's some magic explanation. Men commit more violent crime because they're biologically more aggressive and take more risks. The same traits that built every bridge and skyscraper you use. But here's what's really happening. Feminism destroyed the social structures that channeled male energy productively. Marriage rates are plummeting. Birth rates are collapsing. Men are checking out of society entirely. Women.
And you know what? That's the thing where, as terrible as it sounds, um, you know, and I admit it sounds terrible, but to keep okay, it does sound terrible. To keep men in, hey DA, you see child time videos. I this is a thing where, child time, I try not to watch his videos. I try not to watch other creators' videos because I don't want to seem like I'm copying or you know um absorbing their ways of talking or their I don't know, train of thought or opinions. For me, it's like and before I created a channel, I watch a whole lot of other creators. But now that I'm creating content, I hold back on watching other people's content, particularly in the same field, right? Because I don't want to feel like I'm being influenced by other people, right? By other male content creators. So I mean, I like the guy, right? In the beginning, early on, like a year or two ago, he did a reaction of a video of mine. So he was a very early time supporter of mine. So I love the man. He's an awesome guy.
Are more medicated, more anxious, and more depressed than ever, despite having unlimited freedom. If feminism was supposed to make women happier, why are they popping antidepressants at record rates while swiping through dating apps looking for commitment that never comes?
Oh, I forgot what I wanted to say. I wanted to say that a big problem, okay, and it does sound bad, is that, well, one of the outlets for average men is women. Dating, marrying, and creating a family, and providing and protecting. That is spacious. What's up, my brother? Thank you for stopping by. Well, that is the number one outlet for men. Okay, women. As as maybe terrible as it may sound, but that is a societal truth. It is reality. And now in 2024 and 2025, yeah, in 2025, men don't have that kind of outlet like that. Women are more selective than ever. So most men don't have that as a goal or a path to take. So, it's a detriment to society.
Average 6.8, total 28.1.
You're confusing correlation with causation. Women aren't depressed because they have rights. They're depressed because they're still doing the majority of housework and childcare while also working full-time jobs. We call it the second shift.
Yo, Artie, what's up, my brother? Yo, Artie, you know what? I mean, I do admit, okay, that sometimes your connection is pretty terrible, right? You go in and out sometimes with your audio. So I would love, you gotta check that out, my brother. I don't know why, but watch the stream again, okay? Watch yesterday's stream again, and you'll see that, sometimes you go in and out with your connection. So I admit that it makes it hard for you to have a smooth sentence sometimes. So check that out, my brother.
And those dating apps you mentioned? They're dominated by men seeking casual sex while women still want relationships. The hookup culture isn't what feminism fought for. It's what
But is what women created, okay?
male-designed technology platforms optimize.
Male design. What is it? I think was it Bumble or Hinge? It's either Bumble or Hinge. I think it's Bumble. A woman created that. I believe this is a thing where women have a hand in creating these things. Either they created it or they have a hand in creating it. So no. And I've said this before. The world before feminism, right? You can't blame it on men because essentially women didn't really have a hand in shaping that world. But the world after feminism, women have either 100% or the majority of shaping said world. So no, I believe hookup culture is thanks to feminism. It's thanks to women. I believe men's content is thanks to women, right? So I believe feminism have created the cascading effect of all these changes.
optimized for. But let's talk about what really makes women's lives hell: having our reproductive choices controlled by male politicians who've never experienced pregnancy, childbirth, or the economic reality of raising kids alone when men abandon their responsibilities.
Average 7.0. Total 28.0.
Second shift, women choose jobs with flexible hours, while men work the overtime that actually pays the bills. The average man works 8.4 hours daily versus 7.8 for women. And you just proved my point about dating. Women want commitment, but spent decades telling men that marriage is oppression. And
That's what, see, that's the hypocrisy, okay? So women want commitment, yet studies have shown that women actually get bored quicker in long-term committed relationships. Studies have shown that modern day women get bored quicker in long-term stable relationships, bored quicker than men. And then you see all these women saying they're happily single. You see all these women actually participating in hookup culture. Are women actually, complaining about commitment? It's like this is the hypocrisy and the confusion that women create.
casual sex is liberation. Now you're shocked that men adapted. Women on dating apps reject 95.
Men adapted. That is the key, okay? Women have changed. Women have changed society. The only thing that men have not changed. What men have done is adapted. That is the key. We haven't changed. We adapt.
Percent of men, while the top 10% of guys get all the matches. Women created a sexual marketplace where average men are invisible, then complain about the consequences. You can't spend 50 years destroying the institutions that made men invest in families, then act surprised when they stop investing.
Average 6.5.
What a bunch of BS. 6.5? All these fucking like these apps are like leftist apps. All these ChatGPT shit are like leftist or all these these AI models are leftist created. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Total 34.6.
You're rewriting history. Feminism didn't tell women that marriage was oppression. It told them they didn't have to stay in marriages where they got beaten or treated like servants. The divorce
That is oppression right there. You just said it. And this is the insanity. Do you assume the majority of marriages where they're getting beaten and used as servants? Absolutely ridiculous.
rate spiked when women finally had legal and financial ways to escape bad marriages. And this sexual marketplace you're describing? Men created dating apps optimized for hookups, not relationships. Women didn't design Tinder to swipe through faces like a catalog.
Well, women design Bumble, and it's no different. Oh no, was it Bumble? Yeah, women designed Bumble, and it was a woman CEO created Bumble. I think they're making a movie out of her too. I believe so. So that is insanity.
The top 10% of men you mention are getting matches because they're offering what these platforms reward: looks and casual sex.
Yes, but again, where's the accountability? Women swipe on it.
Women rejecting 95% of men isn't female supremacy. It's women finally having standards after centuries of being told any husband was better than none.
What? That means it shows you that you are rejecting men. So it shows you that you are, because your standards are supposedly getting higher, you are now like having you are now being very selective and picking the top tier men. Fine, it's cool. But again, it shows you that women still value the old school, at least a lot of the standards of the past. Is just to a higher degree. So women, honestly, I don't know why they fought it, but now they just made it worse.
Average 6.6. Total 34.6.
Standards or delusion? When 80% of women think they deserve the top 20% of men, that's not having standards. That's mathematical impossibility. Yes, women can leave bad marriages now, but they're also leaving good ones at unprecedented rates.
Exactly. I believe the majority, okay? The majority of divorces, and this is a controversial opinion, majority of divorces are women being bored. Women leaving because they're bored, because, you know, the grass is greener, looking for the grass is greener, because they think they deserve better, because they've fallen out of love with a man. So no, it's not because women are leaving because of abusive relationships. I believe it wasn't even like that in the past. Yes, do I disagree that there aren't abusive relationships? Yes, I believe there have always been abusive relationships. I just don't believe that's the majority. I believe that's the minority of relationships. Right? Women are now having a freedom to leave marriages that they are bored of, to leave marriages where they fell out of love with a man, to leave marriages where, you know what, they think that they can find better.
2/3 of divorces are initiated by women, often citing unhappiness rather than
Often citing unhappiness. That is the thing. You can cite why you divorce. I believe the majority of citing like irrevocable differences is unhappiness.
abuse. The result? 40% of children grow up without fathers, which correlates with every social pathology you can measure. Meanwhile, a generation of average men have given up entirely. They're not dating, not marrying, not even trying. You call it having standards. But when society tells the bottom 80% of men they're worthless, don't act shocked when they check out and leave you to run everything yourselves.
Average 6.5. Total 41.1.
So your solution is to go back to when women had to accept any man who'd have them? Those good marriages women are leaving often involved men who did nothing around the house, showed no emotional support, and treated their wives like live-in housekeepers. If men are checking out,
Actually, studies have shown that today, I mean, in recent years, and you know, maybe a couple decades now, more and more men are taking up a good amount of the, you know, domestic load, childcare. So that isn't true. Okay, men are taking up a good amount of cleaning, cooking, childcare. Men are doing more and more of it. Hell, there are statistics that have shown that, let's say, black fathers are the most active fathers around. So I mean, fathers are being active in their children's lives.
because women finally have choices, that tells me everything about what kind of partners they were offering. A quality man doesn't become worthless
Okay, so now that women have choices, all women want to share the same man.
just because women can say no. The men who are thriving in modern dating are the ones who developed actual personalities, emotional intelligence, and life skills beyond just having a paycheck.
That is a lie, right? The men that are thriving in relationships or in the dating market isn't because he has emotional intelligence, life skills. No, probably a paycheck and good looks and charm.
If 80% of men can't compete when women have standards, maybe the problem isn't women's expectations. Maybe it's that mediocre men are finally being exposed.
Average 7.6. Total
The fuck? What the hell is these ratings? Is like fucking garbage. Absolute garbage. Stable and loving is just useless now, I guess. Yes, it is. Stable and loving is useless. It is. And these scores are fucking ridiculous.
42.2.
Emotional intelligence is just feminist code for making men act like women. You want men to be sensitive listeners who share feelings, but you also want them to be confident leaders who
Oh, the scoring is how effective, how good, how logical each person's debate is, right? Each person's you know, I don't know, evidence or they're debating, right? So that's what it is, and I think the scoring is fucking off, right?
take charge. You want them emotionally available, but not needy, ambitious, but not absent, strong, but not aggressive. These aren't standards. They're contradictory demands that change based on your mood. Meanwhile, the mediocre men you're dismissing are the ones fixing your plumbing, delivering your packages,
God damn, this man is this AI this guy guy's doing well. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. All these other AI chats are like fucking like feminists themselves. I don't know why. It's weird. Because like you're like literally the things he's saying, he's actually he's contradicting her, right? He's actually showing her hypocrisy. He's actually, right? making logical assertions to her arguments. I don't know. I think it's good. So I think her fucking thing is stupid. It's being robbed.
And keeping the lights on. Society doesn't run on the top 20% of charismatic guys. It runs on ordinary men doing ordinary work.
Fuck yes, the plumbers, right? Plumbers, electricians, right? The plumbers, electricians, carpenters, builders, fucking sewer workers. Societies is built on these men, the backs of blue collar men. So you think these are mediocre men? Just because what? They're blue collared? Just because they work with their hands? Just because they have to sweat for their money? Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely ridiculous.
When you tell the majority of men they're worthless unless they become perfect specimens, don't be surprised when infrastructure starts falling apart.
Average 7.4. Total
Should be
48.5.
higher.
You're creating a false choice. Emotional intelligence isn't acting like women. It's basic human skills that help.
No, but when women define emotional intelligence, then it is acting like a woman. When women define emotional intelligence, it's acting like women. In my opinion, right? Emotional intelligence is controlling your emotions, right? Learning how to regulate your emotions correctly, right? Understanding your emotions. Understanding emotions, right? Knowing not to get angry, knowing what it looks like when people are getting angry, right? That's emotional intelligence. Yeah, I think check out Artie because he does a pop the balloon one, right? Check out Artie. Whiskey, my brother. Anyone here ever been to Taco John's? I've never heard of that. Where's Taco John's at? Thank you for the donation.
In every area of life, including leadership and relationships. The military teaches emotional regulation because it makes better soldiers. Successful CEOs have high emotional intelligence because it makes them better leaders. And let's talk about contradictory expectations. Women have been told to be pure but sexy, ambitious but not threatening, independent but not intimidating, maternal but not boring for centuries.
I don't know what you're talking about independent. Men have never desired women to be independent. It's other women pushing out that BS. Men are not desiring women to be independent. So that's ridiculous. Uh, maybe the sexy part. Okay, I could see the logic in that. It is a bit of off where, oh, you want to be ladylike but sexy. I get it.
At least men's contradictory expectations come with economic power and social respect. When women don't meet impossible standards, we're called failures. When men don't meet them,
What impossible standards? What impossible standards are like women don't meet? That's the insanity. What impossible standards? Hell, men's standards is just be a decent person to him. Right? I mean, some men, maybe a lot of men, cooking and cleaning, but that's kind of like a very common trait in a lot of women.
they blame feminism and check out of society entirely.
Let's play that again. Well, what?
Relationships. The military teaches emotional regulation because it makes better soldiers. Successful CEOs have high emotional intelligence because it makes them better leaders. And let's talk about contradictory expectations. Women have been told to be pure but sexy.
Okay, I agree with this one. Women pure but sexy. I get that one. I give her that one.
Ambitious but not threatening.
No one has told women to be ambitious. Like men have never encouraged women to be ambitious. Women, right, encourage women to be ambitious. Right? That's the modern feminism, right? That the strong, independent women shit. So no, men don't encourage women to be ambitious because here's the thing: men don't give a shit about women's ambitions. It means what? It means nothing to a man because men don't benefit from it. So women being ambitious means nothing. It means nothing. Okay? So ambitious, stupid.
Independent but not intimidating.
Again, men don't ask for women to be independent. Men have always known that you got to provide and protect women. So you being independent is terrible for someone to provide and protect for you. Okay? So no, men don't ask women to be independent.
Maternal, but not boring.
What? Boring? When do men complain about women being boring? That's not a thing. And how's that even contradicting? How's maternal and boring is contradiction? It's usually maternal or, I don't know, childless. That's usually the thing. Absolutely ridiculous. Use a stupid ass argument.
For centuries. At least men's contradictory
And Artie said it's right. In fact, women's ambition is hurting relationships. It is. Women's ambition is actually stopping them from being in relationships.
expectations come with economic power and social respect. When women don't meet impossible standards, we're
Again, what impossible standards?
called failures. When men don't meet them, they blame feminism and check out of society entirely.
What? Men are called failures. Incels, those are failures. What the hell is, like, that's ridiculous.
Average 6.9. Total 49.1.
You completely ignored my point about ordinary men keeping society running because you can't defend it. What happens when they quit? Japan and South Korea are finding out. Collapsing birth rates, economic stagnation, entire industries struggling to find workers. In the US, we're already seeing it. Construction, trucking, manufacturing, all facing massive worker shortages. But instead of
Evil Eddie, my brother, thank you for stopping by.
asking why men are checking out, we double down on telling boys from kindergarten that their natural energy and competitiveness are toxic. Boys are failing at every level of education, being drugged into compliance, and graduating less likely to attend college than girls. We've spent 30 years treating masculinity like a disease, then wonder why we're running out of men willing to build the world.
Average 7.4. Total
Yeah, should be higher.
55.
I mean, maybe I'm biased, right? I don't know about you. Tell me, I mean, maybe you guys are biased too, right? But I mean, like, I hear actual logical rebuttals, right? Logical rebuttals. For her, I don't. I mean, like, I'm kind of dismantling her arguments.
0.9.
You're blaming feminism for economic trends that have nothing to do with women's rights. Japan
Again, okay, it's not feminism is not purely about women's rights. I'm sorry, modern day feminism is not purely about women's rights. It's about the deconstruction, the destructions of what society has been. Women view society pretty much patriarchy, right? Pretty much everything, dating, politics, I don't know, economics, pretty much everything they view as something that it needs to be dismantled. That is the feminist ideology. Okay, I'm sorry, it's no longer about women's rights. It isn't. It's no longer about women wanting to be equal, because essentially they are. Okay, essentially women are equal to men. So it's not about women's rights. It isn't. It's about dismantling what they deem as the patriarchy.
and South Korea's problems stem from overwork culture, economic stagnation, and impossible housing costs, not women having careers. American worker shortage
It actually is, because here's the thing where with women adding to the working force, and we're seeing this in all these other countries. We've seen it already in the US. Women's addition to the workforce, it has stagnated wages because now there's so many workers. You try to balance out the wage instead of increasing it. Same thing with other countries. Okay, because now there's an added amount of workers to the workforce. Bosses don't. So instead of hypothetically hiring one person at let's say $100 an hour, right? Hiring one person at $100 an hour, he's going to hire 10 people, right? Half, I don't know, half men, half women, and now, I don't know, pay each $20 an hour, right? So that's the kind of logic I'm talking about. So technically, women have damaged the workforce. I mean, probably not purposefully, right? Not consciously, but they have subconsciously destroyed the workforce by adding more workers to the workforce, actually adding a quick amount of workers. It didn't stabilize, right? It just like a lot of people now you're in the workforce. So that's why housing shortage, right? Because now women, here's the thing where when back in the day when people had houses, they had family, right? So imagine in today's women, single women are buying a lot of houses themselves. Imagine that. Just by themselves. Now combine that when men get married, right? That's when they buy houses, or some few single men buy houses. That's three separate, people that are buying houses. So that's why you get housing shortage. It's such a the demand is not meeting the supply, because back with the supplies, it was about families buying houses. Now we have single people, a bunch of single people buying homes, but predominantly a lot of women buying homes.
In construction and trucking exist because those jobs offer terrible pay, no benefits, and destroy your body by age 50. Men aren't avoiding these careers because feminism hurt their feelings. They're avoiding them because better opportunities exist. As for boys in education, maybe the problem isn't that we're drugging masculinity, but that our schools were designed for an industrial economy that no longer exists. Boys aren't failing because teachers hate masculinity.
Then it don't make sense. Then why are women succeeding? If schools were see that's a very faulty logic. If schools were designed for a industrial economy that no longer exists, yet women are succeeding, why is that? That don't make sense. That argument doesn't make sense. Additionally, feminist-based policies prioritize diversity over merit, and I agree. In hiring and promotions led to inefficiencies in some industries, hampering productivity. I agree. Exactly. I agree.
They're failing because sitting still for 8 hours and memorizing facts doesn't work for anyone anymore.
But again, women are succeeding. You said it doesn't work for anyone, yet women are succeeding. That kind of defeats your argument. Okay? So how see that's why her argument is failing. Why is it women succeeding? She say facts, memorizing facts is not working. She says, schools are created for the industrial economy, yet because that's not existent. So that's why men are failing. But why are women succeeding? See, that don't make sense. Because if these two factors are why men don't succeed, why are these two factors women succeed? You see the kind of the insanity in this robot's logic?
Average 7.2. Total
That was
56.3.
weak.
If schools don't work for anyone anymore, why are girls thriving while boys
Whoa. The fucking shit. What did I say? What the hell did I say? What did I say? Booyah. Booyah. Look at that. My brain is like AI. My brain is like AI. I'm just playing around. But you see, this is what I'm saying, right? It's the logic. It's the flow of logic. Because that doesn't even make sense. Okay? She is AI. And that shit doesn't even make sense. So when you pipe in feminist logic, right? When you pipe in feminist logic to fucking robots, even they can't make it make sense. Even robots cannot make women's emotional logic make sense. Because it doesn't. I'm sorry. Women don't fucking make sense. They don't live in reality. Okay? Women live in what they want it to be, right? The women live in a world that they want it to be, instead of a war that what is, right? What's basis, right? What's grounded. Women don't. So even fucking robots cannot process women's logic in a logical way. Oh, fuck. Damn.
crash and burn. Girls now make up 60% of college students, 70% of high school valedictorians, and outperform boys in reading by margins equivalent to a full year of learning. Boys are twice as likely to be diagnosed with learning disabilities, 3 times more likely to be suspended, and represent 80% of high school dropouts. This isn't about industrial design. It's about actively suppressing everything that makes boys boys. We eliminated recess, criminalized roughhousing, and turned normal boy behavior into disorders requiring medication. Girls sit still and follow directions better. So we rebuilt education around that model and called boys defective when they couldn't adapt.
Average 7.7. Total
That should be a fucking in the eights. That should be in the eights.
63.6.
You're right that boys are struggling in schools, but you're wrong about the cause. Those education policies you're blaming on feminists, they were implemented by male superintendents, male principals, and male politicians. Zero tolerance policies came from tough on crime mentality, not feminist ideology. The real problem is that we've never taught boys emotional.
But again, okay? But again, you said it. It was created by men, right? It's all created by men. Women are succeeding. That's the thing. So again, let's go back to all the way to the beginning, right? The patriarchy. A society created by men, right? For men. Is it? It isn't, right? This right here shows you. And she even said it, right? Male politicians, male principals, male all this shit. Yet men are failing. While women are succeeding in this male-created society. What does that say? Is it really created for men? It really isn't. And here's another opinion too. I believe more women are actually in the education field than men, at least in modern day. In modern day times, more women are in education field than men. They're actually missing. Let me double check. Oh no. Okay, look at this. By data, right? Data from the National Center of Education, statistics show that the majority of principals in America and private schools are women, with 56% of public school principals women, 63% of private schools women. Seems like women are dominating the education field. Yo, OG, what's up, my brother? Women definitely don't understand. Not even AI women.
Regulation or conflict resolution. We just told them to suppress everything until they explode. Instead of blaming teachers for medicating disruptive behavior, maybe ask why boys are more disruptive. Girls aren't naturally better students. They're socialized from birth to be compliant and people-pleasing. The education system is broken for everyone, but at least girls aren't shooting up schools when they can't handle the pressure.
You know, this is kind of stupid, right? Boys aren't shooting up schools too. This is a thing where we need to stop. Like I believe. Let's see. I mean, like I think this is stupid, right? I'm trying to. Okay, so by okay, so since 2018, okay, according to Education Week, there's been 229 school shootings. So let's hypothetically, right? Hypothetically, say that there's been 229, and I don't think it's all little kids. I wouldn't say that. But let's say this it's 229 boys, right? Let's say that 229 boys. That is let's see. Doesn't say how many boys there are in the U.S. But again, hypothetically, we say 229 boys have done school shootings. That's nothing. To the amount of boys that are in America, that's nothing. So really, you can't say, oh, if boys are doing not doing well in school, they're doing school shootings. That's such a misleading, such a dishonest argument.
Average 6.3. Total 62.6.
Did you just dismiss boys' educational collapse by saying at least they don't shoot up schools? That's exactly the callous attitude I'm talking about.
Ooh, damn! That man is this robot is on fire.
Boys are struggling, falling behind, and checking out of society, and your response is basically shut up before you become violent. Those male administrators you mentioned, they implemented feminist ideas about eliminating competition, pathologizing aggression, and treating traditional masculinity as inherently problematic. The entire educational establishment embraced the
Participation awards. Participation awards, right? I think that was a detriment to society.
notion that boys needed to be fixed to act more like girls. And guess what happens when you systematically fail an entire generation of boys? You get exactly the social problems you just mentioned. Isolated, angry young men with no stake in society's success.
Average 6.6. Total 70.2.
You're right that boys are struggling, and I shouldn't have been dismissive about it. Both boys and girls are victims of rigid systems that don't serve anyone well, but your solution seems to be bringing back the same traditional masculinity that created these problems in the first place.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Again, boys were thriving, right? Thriving during the whole whatever before feminism. Boys were thriving. This is the insane. You can't say that it created these situations in the first place. No, because again, men didn't change society. Boys were thriving during, let's say, the age before feminism. Boys were thriving before the age of feminism. So you can't say that it's because of these, I don't know, old school mindset. No.
The don't cry, be tough, emotions are weakness mentality that leaves men unable to process feelings except through anger. Here's a systematic failure that's happening right now. Women are bleeding out in emergency rooms because male politicians decided our medical care for us. Doctors are watching women die from treatable.
Did you just talk about how school boys are failing in education and then bring it back to women dying because of abortions? God damn, like seriously.
Conditions because they're afraid of legal consequences. You want to talk about
Oh, mead? No. This is just water, but it's a Viking cup, right? I got this. It's called the Wild Bill craft beverages. I've got this. I've gotten a cup every time I went to a comic convention. All right, so it's not mead. I don't really drink.
society failing people? Women are literally dying because men in suits decided they know better than doctors about pregnancy complications.
Pregnancy? Literally, you skip the topic, and now you're talking about pregnancy and abortions.
Average 6.9. Total 69.5.
You're doing exactly what feminists always do when losing an argument. Pivot to abortion, as if it's the trump card that ends all discussion. Those aren't male politicians controlling women's bodies. They're elected representatives implementing policies their constituents voted for, including millions of women who are pro-life. Half of women oppose unrestricted abortion access. But let's stay focused on the systematic destruction of boys.
Yes! Stay focused! Even an AI woman can't stay focused.
We were discussing. You admitted boys are struggling, but then blamed it on traditional masculinity. Boys aren't failing because they were taught to be tough. They're failing because we eliminated everything that helped them succeed. Competition, physical activity, clear rules, and yes, the expectation that they'd grow up to be responsible men who protect and provide for families.
Average 6.1. Total.
What? He went back on topic. His argument was good.
76.3.
You're right that I pivoted too quickly. Both issues matter. But your solution of training boys to be protectors and providers is exactly the problem. That narrow definition of male worth is why men kill themselves when they lose jobs or can't financially support families.
No, it is giving men a clear direction in life. This is the problem. I've said this countless before. I think young men are suffering from a very confusing, directionless, guideless life. Young boys, young men don't know what to do in life. What to do in life. They don't know. Because here's the thing where they don't know that, okay, let's say if they get a tech job, I don't know, a science job, whatever. That don't necessarily mean that they will get a family. That don't necessarily mean that they will, I don't know. What would they use it for? Men are not necessarily desiring to have huge amount of wealth just to have wealth. Men have wealth so they can, you know, get women. That's essentially why men do shit. So again, the traditional roles of men had gave men a clear direction. You get a job, you can find a woman, right? Because you can provide and protect for her. But now it's not like that.
Boys don't need to be taught they're only valuable if they're useful to others. They need to be taught they have inherent worth as human beings. Yes, bring back competition and physical activity, but don't tie it to outdated gender roles. The boys thriving today are the ones learning collaboration alongside competition, emotional skills alongside physical ones. You're essentially arguing that boys can only succeed if we go back to treating them like future ATMs and bodyguards rather than complete human beings.
But here's the thing. Women still treat men like that. That's the problem where this is the problem with a lot of feminist ideology, where they don't understand natural shit, right? Women will still view men by their physicality and their resource gathering. That is honestly, I believe, naturally in women to view men by their physicality and their resource gathering, right? Again, that's an important thing. But now the problem is that now women want top tier physicality. Women want high level resource gathering. Okay? Before, being average could get you an average woman, right? Being average can get you an average woman. Now, average women don't want average shit. Average women are looking down on average men. That is the problem.
Average 7.0, total 76.5.
You've got it completely back.
Thank you, Whiskey. Thank you, my brother. I love you. I love you. And you know what? It was really cool to see to know what you look like. So thank you. Thank you for joining last night.
Backwards. Men aren't killing themselves because they're expected to provide and protect. They're killing themselves because those roles have been stripped away and nothing meaningful replaced them. The highest suicide rates are among unemployed men, divorced men who've lost access to their children, and men who feel purposeless and disposable. Traditional masculine roles weren't oppression. They were meaning, identity, and social value. When you tell men that wanting to provide for their families is outdated,
bro, you know what? It's all good, right? I always think that, you know, it's the heart of a person as well. The heart of a person. So don't be like that on yourself. Don't be hard like that. A good person is always a treasured thing as well, right? And you are an amazing person, right?
and protecting loved ones makes them toxic, what exactly do you expect them to live for? You've created a generation of men with no clear purpose, no respected role in society, and no path to earning respect or building legacy.
Exactly. We constantly neglect. Men are very simple-minded, right? You tell men to do A, men will do A. You tell men to do B, men will do B. That is it. But now we have created a society, a world where men are confused. Men don't know what path to take that will give them essentially what they may want, i.e. a family, i.e. a mate. Again, it's only women that neglect biology. All creatures on this earth do shit so they can mate, right? Every creature on this earth do things so they can mate. That is the natural, what is it? tenet, natural thing of all creatures on this earth. And only women want to fight against nature. It is women.
Then you act shocked when they give up entirely.
Average 7.3. Total 83.6.
Yeah, I think it's a natural instinct, right? Everyone, all creatures on this earth wants to mate and survive. That is it. That is the basis of all, instincts of all creatures. Yo, Trooper, what's up, my man? What's up, my man?
You're touching on something real about purpose and meaning, but you're romanticizing roles that were actually prisons. Traditional masculinity didn't just give men purpose, it trapped them in narrow boxes where they couldn't show vulnerability, couldn't fail, couldn't ask for help. The emotional repression you're calling meaning is exactly what leads to those suicides you mentioned. Men weren't allowed to process divorce, unemployment, or failure in healthy ways. And let's be honest, women also lost their traditional roles as wives and mothers being their only identity, but we adapted and found new sources of meaning. The solution isn't
Yeah, you adopted men. This is the insanity. Yeah, you stripped, you threw away the identities that women used to have, and you adopted men's. More women than ever have turned into the men that they want. More women than ever have turned into the men that they themselves want to date. This is the thing where this AI bot is not talking about. Women have thrown away the identities of women of the past, the roles of women of the past. Guess what? What roles have they taken? They have taken up men's roles, right? They have become the men that they want to date. They have become the men that they want to marry. So women have now, fall into the roles of men.
forcing men back into
This is the problem. Women have the nuance thing is sometimes very idiotic in my opinion, right? And women love talking about nuance because women think that there's so many roles of society, right? Because now women have so many, they try to push out so many fucking genders, so many orientations. And that's the insanity of it, right? Society is very strict. It's very strict in its roles. But because of humans' evolution, humans' thinking, now we're trying to create more. We're trying to push out more. And that is the insanity we're creating in this world. I believe that, you know what? Majority of the time, it's very strict. There's very clear roles for everybody. Yes, there's exceptions. Yes, there's differences, but majority of the time, generally, there's very clear roles. Right? There were clear roles for women. There were clear roles for men. Now, women have thrown away their clear roles in the past, trying to go into the roles that men have taken up. And since women have taken up a lot of the roles that men do, men don't know what to do. It's not like men can take up the roles of women, because even if men do, right, become like housemakers or domestic work, women will still find that unattractive.
provider or protector boxes. It's helping them develop fuller identities beyond just their utility to others.
Average 7.5. Total 84.0.
That line right there proves everything I've been saying. Women lost their traditional roles but adapted. Women didn't lose anything. They gained everything. Society told women, you can be a CEO and a mother, a scientist and a wife. You can have it all, and we'll celebrate every choice you make. Meanwhile, men were told, everything you were is toxic. Providing for family is oppression. Protecting others is violence. Being competitive is harmful. Women kept their traditional roles as options while gaining new ones. Men had their traditional roles stripped away and replaced with, what exactly? You want men to develop fuller identities, but every traditionally masculine trait gets labeled problematic. When women expanded their roles, society cheered. When men lost theirs, society shrugged and said, figure it out yourself.
Average 7.3. Total 90.9.
You're buying into a myth about women having it all. That messaging was marketing, not reality. Women who try to be CEO and perfect mothers get torn apart by both sides, called selfish career women if they work too much, lazy if they prioritize family. We didn't gain options, we gained impossible
Who's calling women lazy if they prioritize women? I mean, prioritize families.
expectations. Most working mothers are doing a full-time job plus most of the childcare and housework. That's not having it all. It's doing everything. And plenty of traditionally masculine traits still get celebrated. Athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders who show confidence and drive. The difference is, we're asking men to add emotional intelligence and communication
Jefferson, you're drunk texting? You're crazy. What was the name you had before?
skills, not replace strength and ambition. But you're right about one thing. Society gives men less guidance on navigating these changes.
There shouldn't be, that's why there shouldn't be anything wrong. To be honest, I think that was the role perfect for women, to raise the next generation of productive human beings.
And that's a real problem we should address.
Average 7.8, total 91.8.
In this debate, the feminist advocate received slightly higher scores overall from the judges.
What a load of crap. That's such a load of crap. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I find that the judges were, it was rigged. It was rigged. I don't know. Whatever. What do you guys think?